Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome military consultant Rex Groves.
Well, good morning, everyone. You know, you're going to be hearing over the rest of the morning and early into the afternoon about waste, about fiscal waste. But there is a waste that's even greater. It's any waste that places the lives of our men and women in the armed services in danger. And roughly about 10 years ago, as we entered Operation Iraqi Freedom, we faced such a dilemma, faced such a risk. What you'll be seeing is the impact of an enemy that had adapted. We had an enemy that decided that they were facing overwhelming superiority in military impact from the United States moving into Iraq, and had adapted. And this adaptation you see in front of you is this improvised explosive device, or IED. Very simple, but incredibly effective against us. There was a lot of weaponry left over from the Soviet invasion of Afghanistan and was used against us in this particular conflict. Very easy to put into the ground using no more than just 2 hacksaw blades as a detonator, and created a tremendous impact upon our servicemen and women. You'll see here, many of us had heard about it, the Humvees that we used in theater were immediately destroyed, and over 1,000 fatalities over the course of 3 to 4 years were involved when running over these type of weapons. Not only the 1,000 were killed, we had 10-to-1 ratio, 10 people injured for every one that was killed. What could we do? What could we do? What was the impact? Well, there was a solution. It had been a solution that had been around for a while called the MRAP, the Mine-Resistant Ambush Protective Vehicle. And this afforded protection. Now, if you look at the picture in front of you, you may wonder, wait a minute, that doesn't look like much protection. It's in pieces, right? You'll see tires laying all over the place. You'll see fuel lying all over the place. And you wonder, how did that help? And if you look even closer, you don't even see an engine. The engine is removed. Well, we did find it. The engine, if you look, lay a football field away. Now, there was a difference between this image and the one you saw before. In this image, every service person walked away, every one. And it continued to be that way. Secretary Gates made an edict that we had to have the MRAP program produce 1,500 vehicles before the end of the year. So we had roughly 8 months to do that, to get them into theater to protect our servicemen and women. However, what was the issue? Was there an issue? Well, there sure was, and it involved waste. We walked down to the facility, the construction facility in South Carolina, and just took a look at what was there. The capacity at that time was just 5 per day, and at that rate, trying to get them into theater and get everyone trained, it would take 3 to 5 years in order to get that many vehicles to them. So something had to be done, and something had to be done quickly. And that's where we introduced the methodologies, the fundamentals of Lean Six Sigma, showing them how to improve flow, how to reduce variability, and get things working. So what we did first was look at the problems that they had. They had problems with, we had 9 different vehicle suppliers, deliveries that occurred, raw parts and materials that occurred roughly only once per month instead of once per week as we needed, and in some cases even faster. No communications between suppliers, bottlenecks where you'd see lots of material building up and nothing moving in others, and other facilities not having anything at all to work on. No prioritization of any changes coming in from the field, and of course, no standardized work. Some people working on something, another person would work on the same thing and do it 2 different ways. So there was a target-rich environment, a lot of opportunity to make improvement. And using this methodology, we didn't do it coming in to help them, the people on the line did it. Showing them the proper tools allowed them to have that aha moment, to allow them to be creative and help to get production from 5 per day up to a required 50 per day. And it was done. Again, one of the big impacts that we had 2 choices when we first started. You could add more buildings, people, and materials to get from 5 to 50 per day, or do with what we had. And this was what was beautiful about what we accomplished. It was doing with what we had. We didn't have to spend more money. We didn't have to buy more materials. We didn't have to add more people. We used what we had, and we went from 5 to 50 per day. So what we were, again, working on is getting our men and women safe. And by the end of the year, we had achieved, by looking at the process as a whole, working to increase the throughput from 5 to 50 per day. So did we make it? Well, by the end of the year, by the end of December 2007, those 1,500 vehicles were in the field. Lives were saved. It's been estimated that over 1,000 military personnel have been saved by having these MRAPs in today. So in closing, there will be conflicts in the future. We will face dangers ahead, but make no mistake, if we use the proper fundamental problem-solving tools of Lean Six Sigma, continuous improvement, we will adapt.